Alright, good afternoon everybody. Welcome back. We only have a few smart home projects left to go, believe it or not. So in the last project we used the RFID code, or the RFID to open, and the push button to close the door. And in the next piece of code that we're going to run, we are going to use Morse code to open the door. Morse code, okay, so this is the Morse code, right? So they use K as the correct password in the code. What's more, there's a button library file, one button, which is very simple to click, double click, double click, long press, and other functions. For Morse code, the password click is long press, and release is, what's that, period, and space, dash, I guess. Oh, so this is K, right? So the string correct password is dash, period, dash. That's our password. So that's what that's saying. Now our test code is rather loquacious and spans about 92 lines right now. That's no problem. We've done longer code than that. So our test result, at first the display says enter the password, then click or long press button 1 to tap the password. If we input the password correctly, dash dot dash, then click button 2, the door will open and the LCD will display open. If other incorrect passwords are entered, the door will not move. The LCD will display error, and then enter again 2 seconds later. Furthermore, long press button 2 can close the door. Okay. And on our next one, we're supposed to be able to get the smart home app running. So let's go back and straighten out our code here. As usual, when we copy and paste the Arduino code, it looks terrible, into the new sketch. So first, let me move the webcam out the way, and let me bring back my IDE view. Okay, so you guys see the same thing that I do. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is break things up into recognizable chunks. So we have an include statement for wire H, wire.h. We have an include statement for liquid crystal, and we have a liquid crystal constructor, and those are the parameters. We have an include, set up a new button on pin 16. Okay, so what if, now follow me here, what if we pasted that there instead? Oops. Oh, I see, that's how they wanted to comment it on the other one. Okay, you know what, let's Control Z a couple of times, because it's not really that important. Okay. Fine, okay. And, okay, then we set up a new one button. Okay, this is what we're missing here. I see now. I'm kind of grouping things by functional block, right? So I got this include wire.h, we'll use that later, right? Include the liquid crystal, then we have a liquid crystal constructor. And then include the one button class. Look, and we're building another button called one button. It's a constructor. These are the parameters, pin 16, marked true. It's still just a constructor, right? It's as you learn about design patterns, constructor is one of the most fundamental design patterns in programming. So it's like you learn to notice it everywhere. So then we're including the servo, and we're building a servo called myServo. And once again, it's really a constructor, but um, we don't have to assign it any parameters. Or the way that they're doing it is this way: servo pin equals 15, string password, string correct. Okay. Why are we declaring things up here? Okay. That's what I'm wondering, is why aren't we running these things in the setup function? Include, and then we have our servo, myServo, servo pin 13, string correct, that's our password. So let's I'll go there to make it look like that. Okay. So now we're beginning with the setup function. Yeah. So now we're going to start with the setup function. And you see where the setup function starts up here and it stops down here? So the first thing we're going to do is just highlight all of these rows and tab them all in. Okay. And now most of these comments are probably going to go on the tail end of some other thing. Let's see here. Backlight, and then they want to link the button. Okay, so I'm going to space those out as functional groups. But we see up here we have this one. They snuck that. Okay. So link the button 1 functions. Link the button 2 functions. Okay. Allow allocation of all timers. And let's see here. So this standard 50 Hertz goes back here. Okay, and the myServo attached servo pin. This text up here goes back here. Down, Crunchy. Down. Cat's trying to climb on the table. Servo object using min-max. So these are all commented also. Then my LCD cursor. So why are these allocate for? All of the allocate for timer stuff is indented. Like all of this stuff. And I don't think that's really necessary, but that goes all the way down to right here. This whole block is tabbed in one for whatever reason. And okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 50, standard 50, okay. Right, okay, nice. So that all looks good. Also take note, our serial is going to need to be set to 115200. Okay. Now let's go into our loop function is actually very small. And this is cool. This is cool. I love the way that they did this. Our loop function is right here. Yep. And so what do you recognize here? We have a button 1 dot tick, okay, and a button 2 dot tick. We're just calling these functions, right? And then we have a delay of 10. And that's wonderful. So then what they've done is set up Crunchy shush. Button 1 attached to the click function, button 2 attach click 2, and then you see here's click 1 and here's click 2, right? So those will get called yeah, when the button is pressed, we're attaching the click 2 function to the button at button 1, and button 1 is defined up here as our hardware, right? So when the hardware button is pressed, it calls this click 1 function. When the button 2 is pressed, they've attached this click 2 to this function that we're going to build down below. And then there's also attach a long press stop. It's another type of a function from the library, a long press, okay? A long press stop. Okay, so now we're writing this click 1 and click 2 function. That's really cool. So let's step through that real quick, and let's first, okay. So this tells us button 1 callback functions. This function will be called, let me expand this out here. So it says this button will be called when the button 1 is pressed one time. Oops. And no number 2 button press is followed, I guess. So it doesn't return a value. It's just a click function. So click function, and then serial print, boop, and then password equals password plus this string, right? This character. Then my LCD set cursor to 0, 1. My LCD print whatever the value of that password is on the click. Okay. Yep. So that's click 1. Okay. And then we have this void long press stop 1 that we saw up here, right? Didn't we see that? Button 1, long press stop 1. Call it against this long press stop 1 function. Okay. Sorry, I thought I lost my mic there. So we call it against this long press stop 2 function. So here's long press stop 1. This function will be called once when the button is released after being, I'm going to correct that, pressed for a long time. Okay. So that's our void long press stop 1. Okay. And that's what that is. So now we have the same for button 2. Long press stop 2. Okay. And if password is correct, then my servo, this should be all separated. Huh. Oh, yeah, this needs to be straightened out. Oops, here, get over here. Okay, all of that's going to get tabbed in again. Okay, bring that up here. So if password equals correct password, so overwrite 180. Open the door if the password is correct. Yeah, that's gonna put that up there. I'll bring that up there where we can read it. My LCD, clear the LCD, set the cursor, open print. Okay. Else, and take all this my LCD stuff, tab it in once, tab it in twice. Okay, yeah. Clear the LCD, set the cursor, print error, delay, clear, set cursor, print input again. And this needs to be indented up here. This needs to be indented. That needs to go below. And then it says something about the password equals nothing. Let's see here. And we are okay. That's the end of click 2 right there is what that's trying to tell us. Okay. Moving right along. Void long press stop 2. Should be quick and easy. Long press stop 2. Indent all this stuff. Serial print line. Button 2 long. Okay, so my servo right is going to open the door. We want to just back that note. Oops. Control Z. Back up. Okay. Open the door. My LCD clear. Set cursor. Print close. And then long press stop 2. That's just telling us that that's the end of the name of that function. Or that's the end of that function. Okay. So looks like all of our code is cleaner. Then let's just run it. Let's see what happens. We need to add the one button library. Right? So let's remember what we're going to do here. We're going to put brackets around it. Why are we doing that? Because it's not in the folder that we're running it out of. We want to run it from a zip file library. And in order to do that, we have to go find, we're going to feed it the path. Like right here, what we're doing is we're giving it this path to this one button master zip. So we select that, and then we successfully install. Now the IDE knows the path, and we can just put that in there and see it has the path right there. That's why we use the angle brackets. It makes life easier. Okay, so run it again. Warning. Grrr. No, this is good. It looks like stuff's happening. We got a serial monitor. Okay, so test result. Oh, let me bring up the house so you can see what I see. There's our house, and it says enter the password. Okay, so now let me read our test result. So if it compiled, that's good. At first it'll say enter password, then click or long press button 1 to tap the password. So it should be long press, click, long press. Oh, enter. Error. Okay. What have I done? Long press, click, long press. Oh, and the door opens. Check that out. Error. What do I do to close the door again? Oh, anyway, let's try. Long press, click, long press. Nope. Long press, click, long press. So it opens. Okay. Open error. It doesn't seem to close the door. Um, how about... Oh, okay. The long press button too closes it. Okay, I wasn't paying attention when I was reading through the code. Like the meaning of the words, I was just making it look nice and neat, to be honest with you. So there's a long press, a short press, and a long press. And push the button, the door is open, and a long press on this one. Upon release, the door closes. So all of our code is working great. And okay, so the next one, smart home. The easiest way to access the internet is to Wi-Fi connect the SP30 Wi-Fi module. Smart home, accessible to the internet. It'll take over the world. Look, ChinaNet at 233. Note SSID and password code filter. We're gonna look at this next. Smart home, connect the smart home to the internet. Give our home over to China. It's gonna be great. You're gonna love it.